this is my physical TBR for 2025. Let's go through them. I have set myself many goals, like not goals, but like guidelines for my reading in 2025, and not all of these books will meet that, but I do not have the money to go out and buy more books, so this is my physical TBR. I do have a bunch of books on my list though, if anyone's interested in seeing those. One of these goals is reading classics and also more diverse, and just really take my time reading books, which I'm kind of already failing, but I just read quickly. The first book is one that I already started like 2 days ago. It's Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, and I've been wanting to read this for a long time, and I have 2 very pretty copies of it, and I'll just read this when I feel like it, and it's great. If you don't know Alice and what Alice in Wonderland is about, it's about Alice who falls into a rabbit hole and lands in Wonderland. It's a children's classics, which I've been wanting to read for a long time. The next classic that's very high on my TBR and is maybe one of the prettiest books I own is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I already started this. First of all, I hope it's focusing. I already started this once last year, and then I forgot to put a bookmark in, and for the life of me could not remember where I left off. So this is why this is such a priority, because I really liked it. Next, this one's just because I started reading. I didn't start because I read the first one, because I'm obsessed with the show Interview with the Vampire. So this is next on my list, and this will be read this year because I'm hoping the new season comes out very soon. This goes right back up there next to Interview with the Vampire. But I will tell you about this one, which I'm hoping to read around spring or summer. It's At the Pond by many authors, and I picked this up in a English-only bookstore in Munich, which doesn't come around often in Germany. But I did in Munich, and my favorite thing about this one is that the lady at the register told me that she loved this, and that she hopes that I love it as much as she did. In these essays, it's an essay collection, in these essays we see the pond from the perspectives of writers who have swum there. Esther Freud describes the life of having sensational swimming through the seasons. Lou Stoppard pays tribute to the winter swimmers who break the ice. Margot Drabble reflects on the golden Hampstead days of her youth. Charlene Theo visits for the first time, and Nell Frizzell shares the view from her yellow lifeguard's canoe. It's all of these authors' thoughts, perspective, and feelings and stories about the Hampstead Ladies' Pond, and I just thought this sounded so wholesome and so just like something I really need, and I would read this right now, but I think it would be inappropriate for the season. But I think spring might be the perfect time. The next one is an author that I really want to read this year. I also have another one on my TBR, but I'm showing you this one. It's Sexing the Sherry by Jeanette Winterson, and I really want to read Jeanette Winterson so bad. And I got this secondhand, and I love the copy, and I also have written on the body of hers, which I'm wanting to read as well. And this is what Sex and the Cherry is about. It celebrates the power of the imagination as it playfully juggles with our perception of history and reality. Love and sex, lies and truths, and 12 dancing princesses who lived happily ever after, but not with their husbands. And I've just heard many great things about Jeanette Winterson. And that's why I can't wait to read this. And I'm so excited that I found this secondhand, because the English section at the secondhand bookstores in Germany sucks. This I also found many secondhand finds, because I did a lot of that this year, and it's Losing Eden by Lucy Jones, which follows the same themes as At the Pond. And it also says on here why our minds need the wild. And this might be non-fiction. I will tell you why I picked this up, because it has a review on here by Amy Liptrot, which I do not know who that is. but I'll read you the review and then you can decide for yourself why I wanted to read this and why you should maybe too if it's as great as I think. By the time I read the first chapter, I'd resolved to take my son into the woods every afternoon over winter. By the time I'd read the sixth, I was wanting to break prisoners out of cells and onto the mossy moors. Exciting, pertinent, and elegantly written. It just sounds fabulous. I also love... I read like a few fragments of pages because I wanted to know if I was like interested in this at all, and I was very much so, and that's why I decided to read this. There's no synopsis in here, but I cannot wait to read it. It just sounds so deliciously wild and maybe also important for all of our sakes. And I hope I'm not disappointed by this because I did not look at reviews at all. This is also pretty high of a priority because I think this would be great to read in winter. This is Looking Glass Sound by Petronia Ward. I'll read you the first part of the synopsis because I don't want to know too much about it while reading it. Writers are monsters. We eat everything we see. In a windswept cottage overlooking the sea, Wilder Harlow begins the last book he will ever write. It is the story of his childhood companions and the shadowy figures of Daggermen who stalked a New England town. It is the story of Skye, Wilder's one-time friend who stole his unfinished memoir to turn it into a lurid, best-selling novel, then died without ever explaining why. I didn't know anything about this book when I picked it up. Then I've seen a few TikToks from people praising this and also people making like, this is the vibe of the book, and it seems like very gothic and dark academia and misty, and that's what I like, and I cannot wait to read this. Maybe I'll do it in February, hopefully. Another classic I want to read this year is Brightside Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. Picked this up in the heat of Saltburn, but I've wanted to read it long before that, and I'm really wanting to read more classics, so I'm hoping I read this one this year. This book tells the story of Charles Ryder's infatuation with the Marchmains and the rapidly disappearing world of privilege they inhabit. Enchanted first by Sebastian in Oxford, then by his doomed Catholic family, in particular his remote sister Julia, Charles comes finally to recognize only his spiritual and social distance from them. And it just sounds so interesting, and I really like the premise of Saltburn. And if this inspired Saltburn, let's go. This is, first of all, gorgeous design, and it's Supernatural Short Stories by Sir Walter Scott. I know mainly nothing about this, and I kind of want to keep it that way. It's a short story collection, and I got this for Christmas, and I really like it. Well, I really like what I've read about it. I'll read you one sentence. The one sentence that convinced me that I need this. Mostly set in the Highlands of Scotland, and presenting a vast array of memorable characters. The stories in this collection are tinged with an element of the supernatural or explore themes of murder and guilt, revealing the author's great talent in a shorter fiction form. Why haven't I started? And I like short stories because I will read them over a couple of weeks or months just to really take them in and get each one of them the time they deserve, if it's a good short story collection. The next book I'm very ashamed to say that I haven't read yet because I am a big fan of the author. It's Sally Rooney's Intermezzo, and I love all of her other books, and I am obsessed with her writing. I think I'm 50 pages into this, and I just stopped reading because it just didn't feel right, and I wanted to have the right mindset to read it. And I'm very excited. It's been all over the place, so you probably know what it's about. It follows these two brothers dealing with grief, and that's all I'm saying. We have 3 more books. The next one is A.K. Blakemore's The Glutton, which I picked up because I was really interested in the cover and also the synopsis. I did start reading this. I haven't continued yet, only like 5 pages, randomly one day when I really wasn't interested in reading at all, but then I, for some reason, started reading this. But I'm very excited to continue reading it. Maybe I'll start from the beginning, because why did I only read 5 pages? It goes as following. The 18th century is drawing to a close. An unrest grips France. Tarar has been born into a life of slender means, but when a sudden act of violence ignites in him a ferocious appetite, his extraordinary abilities to eat make him a marvel throughout the land. Traveling to Paris and beyond, through the heart of the revolution, he journeys into a world of upheaval and depravity, in which the hunger of one peasant is matched only by the insatiable demands of the people of France. I love historical fiction. I don't know if this counts as that. I don't know how accurate it is. And I also really want to read The Manning Tree, which is by the same author. And I've heard many great things about this. I feel like I need to push all of these. I need to read them all more quickly. The next one is another classic, and it's Thomas Hardy's Under the Greenwood Tree. This is the only Thomas Hardy book I have. One of my best friend gave this to me, and it just sounds like something I should read in spring or summer. And I've been wanting to read something by Thomas Hardy, and I think this maybe is the right one for me. It says, Under the Greenwood Tree is an authentic picture, painted in loving detail of an England that has long since vanished, and it is undoubtedly the gentlest and most picturesque of Hardy's stories. And that just seems like something I should read. But I think for classics, mostly I don't like reading the summaries because I just want to get into it and learn about it myself. And the last book, which was also one of my goals, is reading more poetry. So please, if you have any recommendations, please let me know, because I've only read like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poetry books, and they're really random, and I did enjoy them, but I want to read better poetry. The one I did really like is Dakota Warren's On Sun Swallowing, of course. And this one is Devotions by Mary Oliver, which has been on my wish list for so long, and it's so nicely flopped. No, so it has such a nice flop to it. One of my friends also told me that she thinks this is the right moment for me to read this, so I shall be starting to read this very soon, because I want to take my time with it and really understand and get a feel for the poetry. There's a lot I can say about a poetry collection, but I heard great things, and I cannot wait to start reading this soon. That is that. If you have any recommendations, especially poetry recommendations, please let me know. Also, let me know, what are your priorities for reading this year? Do you have any very specific books that you really want to read this year? And if you already read one of these, please let me know your thoughts as well, without spoilers, obviously. I hope you got some recommendations out of this, and goodbye.